gentlemen, welcome to the CXO Roundtable Mumbai. This is an initiative by The Talk. The Talk offers a very powerful platform for businesses to combine and come together for meaningful business relationships and partnerships. This event is sponsored by the Tata Tele Business Services. They are the country's leading enabler of connectivity and collaboration solutions for the businesses. They offer solutions ranging from connectivity, collaboration, cloud security, IoT, and marketing services. And they are also the country's leading ICT service providers for businesses in India. So I would like to start today's roundtable by introducing the lovely panelists who took time and joined here with us. Now, I know this is a virtual session, but let's give a good round of applause as I introduce everyone's name so that we have a good energy flowing inside the room. I would like to start by introducing Mr. Sahil Anand, Director, IBS Intelligence. Welcome, Mr. Sahil.
Thank you.
We also have Mr. Sunil Kumar Siraswala, Managing Director, Divya Global Private Limited. Welcome, Mr. Sunil. So we also have Mr. Arpit Kathod, Director, Yash FinPro International Private Limited. Welcome, Mr. Arpit. And we have Poonam Hariharan, Founder, Organic Amrit. Welcome, Poonam. We're also expecting two of our other friends to join with us, so I hope to see them very shortly. But before that, let's quickly jump on to today's round panel discussion. But before that, we also have to introduce and welcome our very own Janice Das, Regional Marketing Head, Mumbai, Tata Teleservices Limited. Welcome, Janice. And before we start today's roundtable panel discussion, I would humbly request Janice to share a few words for the opening thoughts. Over to you, Janice.
Thank you, Muthu. So, am I audible, Muthu? Is it okay?
Yes, Janice, loud and clear.
So, a very good afternoon to all the eminent speakers and to all the participants who have taken out time from their busy schedule and decided to be part of this Tata Tele Business Services CXO Roundtable series. Now, I would like to spend some time talking about what are our core strengths and what is the focus we have in the market today. We have all seen that it's almost 1.5 years that COVID-19 has acted as a tipping point for digital transformation of the workplace. And this will speed up further as technology is now a vital pivot on which enterprises are totally dependent for their business continuity and growth. Digital agility, thus, is becoming a critical factor for the workforce to communicate and collaborate effectively, both internally and with customers. As a country's leading technology enabler, Tata Tele Business Services, also known as TTBS, has been empowering enterprises with voice, data, managed services to develop deep digital capabilities, build resilience, and enhance operational efficiency. Enterprises are moving fast on their digital curve, and they are embracing hybrid work culture that allows them to service their customers from anywhere, anytime. To meet this growing demand, we have strengthened our portfolio of services such as cloud communication solutions, collaboration solutions, Internet of Things, data management, and cybersecurity solutions. We have launched Advanced Cloud Communication Suite by the name SmartFlow, which combines an uninterrupted flow of business communication with intelligent call routing and monitoring. Not only this, it also offers on-demand scalability, which allows businesses to adapt quickly to changing business conditions. We also know how important has cybersecurity become with people working from home. So this SmartFlow also comes with enterprise-grade security and reliability. There has been another development from our side. We have collaborated with Zoom to offer video communication solutions to our enterprises. Through this partnership, we will offer Zoom's communication platform services such as Zoom meetings, Zoom webinars, among others, to small medium enterprises, which enable collaboration among teams and with global partners. Furthermore, this partnership between the two companies will benefit industry segments such as banking and financial services, healthcare, IT-enabled businesses, and education with unified communication solutions backed by Tata Teleservices support. The video communication platform offers features such as live video, streaming of video webinars for up to 50,000 viewers, one-click access, sharing of video, voice and content, as well as recording, virtual background, company branding, multi-layer security, and meeting participation of up to 1,000 people on video from locations across the globe. At the same time, due to the ongoing COVID-19 restrictions that have necessitated virtual working and collaboration, Tata Telebusiness Services has strengthened its enterprises portfolio solutions with Smart Flow, Smart Office, Ultra Lola, Smart Internet Lease Line, collaboration solutions, IoT, data management, and cybersecurity solutions. So for the past 2 decades, our deep customer engagements have helped us to develop solutions that will enable enterprises to compete and win in their respective business sectors. We will continue to play the role of technology enabler by strengthening our portfolio of services, especially in the areas of connectivity, collaboration, SaaS, IaaS, IoT, and cloud, and also increasing our reach to cover as much of the enterprise footprint as possible to help them grow. Thank you once again for spending time and joining this session. I'm sure it will be a very insightful one for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Janice, for that lovely opening remark and setting the tone of today's session, really on a very, very high mark. So yes, my dear panelists, are you ready for today's session? Let me see a thumbs up if you're ready, so that we quickly jump on to today's session. Yeah, thank you, Sahil. Thank you, Poonam. So yeah, as I already told you, I have a set of questions which I would love to ask you, and I would love to understand your answers for the same. So the theme of today's session is going to be transforming your business through new age communication tool. So this is the theme of today's round panel discussion round, and my questions will be based on that. So without any further ado, let's quickly jump on to today's first question. So it's been 2 years since we started to be in this pandemic and this lockdown and this whole new term of the new normal. Right? I still remember the 21st of March on 2020 when this entire things began to happen. So when the lockdown was announced first, right, what went through your mind as a CEO and what were your top priorities? I would like to start with Mr. Sunil Kumar. Over to you.
It was something like that. We never thought about what we had to do. Is it possible to have a complete lockdown? Suddenly everything, we were without computers with our staff because few had a laptop and the laptop was overburdened and it was not working. But still, you people, the IT people have managed something. We were able to do something for 2 months. Then after 2 months, when the lockdown opened, then we reorganized our total system. It was really a nightmare, but still we could manage it. That's enough.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Sunil sir. So I tell the question once again. So when the lockdown was announced first, what went into your mind when the lockdown began and what were your top priorities as a CXO? I would start to ask with Mr. Sahil. Over to you.
I think for us, it was very interesting because if for most people who know the global consulting business model, our whole business model is about having our consultants on client side Monday to Friday. Our consultants are actually never in our own offices. Just Friday evenings, afternoons is when you convene in your home office. And to then just start telling clients, most of our clients are actually global banks. Who are investing millions of dollars in technology and systems based on kind of what we advise them that we're no longer going to be physically anywhere close to you. And our consultants are going to be talking to you and working on projects completely remotely. I think for just that conversation took time, was a lot to digest, but obviously everybody knew they had to accept it. So I think the minute we got the news, just that was I think the first thing on our mind was that client and projects and parallel projects and client delivery. And I think that's the first thing we tried to focus on, and all our partners across practice areas kind of had conversations with clients about. I think the second is just organizational culture. I think that's one thing that gets very undermined through all of this, especially for a consulting company. Our only assets are really our people and their IP and their experience and everything to do with our people and our consultants. And the one opportunity our teams would have to build that culture in a non-COVID time was when we all interacted and were in the office and had lunch together and traveled together and did things together. But the fact that all of that fell out, I think we had to even kind of think and firefight in that department. So I'd say these were the two focus areas: organizational culture and then client services, and not dropping the ball on consulting programs that were live and running.
Fantastic, Mr. Sahil. So I think I am, but I think I am more into your shoes, because in the lockdown announced first, I think rather than this organization restructure, I think the client deliveries at that moment was very important, and it had to be met with the time deadline. Fantastic, Mr. Sahil. Let me move on to Arpit.
Yes. Hi. So when the lockdown began last year, am I audible?
Yes, Arpit, please go ahead.
Okay. So when the lockdown began last year, all of a sudden, we were not able to figure out, because we just got a mandate of an international client and we were supposed to travel to Thailand. So it was like a big shock to us, because we were supposed to travel to Thailand, but people were stuck globally. So they were not able to come back. All flights were stopped. So we immediately thought that how to execute a transaction sitting in our own country, as lockdown has begun and we cannot travel.
Arpit, say your voice is disorganized.
It feels like he's singing a song.
We immediately redrafted the strategy and we convinced our... Hello?
Arpit, say,
hello?
Yes, go ahead. Your voice is
Am I audible? Okay, one second. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. Is it clear now? Is it better?
Better than the previous things. Yeah, you can go ahead.
I think
okay, 1 second.
You should stop your video.
1 second. Okay. So is it better now?
Yes, sir. In case if you find any lag,
okay,
turn off your video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So the moment the lockdown began last year, and we had a challenge to execute the assignment which we got from the overseas client, and we immediately drafted the strategy that how we can execute that assignment sitting here in our own country, because there were no travels and everything was under restriction. So the first point which came in my mind was that the most important thing is to sustain, to work on and to rework on the sustainable strategy for our organization, because I have got that much idea that this might take a lot of time to recover, or this lockdown itself can be for a very long time, seeing the situation globally.
Fantastic.
So that was our experience, but we managed to start the assignment for the client and we managed to work for him.
Fantastic, sir. Thank you. Let me quickly move on to Poonam.
Yes, so actually Organic Amrit was born during lockdown. So we were literally baptized by fire. All our fundamental systems, whether it's the R&D, the designing, the development, and while that was going on, soft launch of the business model, everything happened during lockdown. So for us, starting from finding a bond paper for registering your business and everything else that you can think of, it was a really, really a Herculean task. So, for us, priority was to nevertheless launch and not let this really impact our plans. Also, priority was to ensure that we do a soft launch and do really connect with the customers and start to get the feel of the ground level realities. And also a priority was to, set the foundation very, very strong, nevertheless, by sometimes using really unconventional means. For example, when it came to the soft launch, the logistics was completely shut down. So, we still managed to send products to Bangalore, where there was like literally like 100% lockdown. People weren't even getting basic groceries. We got the soft launch product, which was organic Alfonso mangoes, all the way to people in Bangalore, in Cochin, in Delhi. So I think this has really led to some very unconventional ways of doing things for us. It's a great curve for us, very steep and a great curve to see how things could be done not through the conventional channels.
Right. All right, Preetham. I think I can reflect whatever you said on a very, very larger base, because even I own an organic company and I started during pandemic. I think I can reflect a lot on it. Fantastic, Poonam. So I think it's really nice to see a lot of CXOs having a different thought process. I think as Sahil said, organizing the structure and meeting the delivery deadlines was one of the factors. And as Mr. Sunil mentioned, there were a lot of business owners who didn't have any clue at all of what is happening around me. And I think, how are we even going to come out? So I think there are a lot of companies which, on the contrary, started during the pandemic, just like me and Poonam. And I think it was a complete roller coaster ride for a lot of us. So fantastic. So moving forward, I think this is going to be a very interesting question. Let me ask it out. How business communication solutions are redefining the workplace or workforce? I would again like to start with Mr. Sunil. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. You are asking question to me only. I am the manufacturer. We don't have people who can work on the communication. We have the 2,000 people working for manufacturing. So our machine cannot run from the work from home. Not what to do. So what happened? The laborers are coming to the factory without supervisor. You can understand what kind of quality you are getting nowadays in your market. So restructuring and all these things, we are bringing the people back from the home to our units was like a big task. Everybody was, they were ready. Still the people are ready to go to the holidays. They don't have pandemic there, but come to office, there is a pandemic. Isn't it, Poonam? What do you think?
Absolutely, totally agree.
Managing people, 70, 80 people, the managing people were working from home, but still, you have seen a lot of jokes also. The people are in the kitchen rather than on the laptop. And we were trying to find the people like Tata Tele or something, what we can have the system in which we can understand they are working or they are not working. Still, we are trying to find out the correct solution. So that is the total changes in the transforming your system will be there, and it is going to be changing the total lives of the people for next 10 years, I believe. That's enough. I can see this enough answer for you.
All right, sir. I think again and again, I'm putting you on a very difficult position. So I think I'll again move to Mr. Sahil. Over to you, Sahil.
Well, I think obviously communication tools have been super important, right? Because we've been basically running consulting programs around the world at like over 15 countries at any time, completely remotely. Believe it or not, we do have clients today when things are marginally better globally who are kind of requesting our consulting teams to be on client side, traveling, getting on planes, and that is happening as we speak. I'm also actually in the office right now, and we have a team full of consultants, about 50, 60 people in the office today. So we are actually we haven't been a very work from home forever kind of culturally organization, but obviously things have changed. We recently installed a bunch of phone booths for the first time ever within our office. So you have standalone phone booths where people just standing around doing calls with global clients instead of being in their offices around the world. We have a virtual office set up where between offices, because people aren't traveling as much, you can look at a screen and basically say hello to each other and virtually eat lunch with each other. And then the tools are the same, right? I mean, it's the same 4 or 5 Microsoft Teams and Zoom and all of that, but obviously the optimum use of all those tools to communicate and build a culture that is not just work related, right? Being able to pass on other messages, being able to talk about Diwali, being able to do other things using all the communication tools, I think has been important.
All right, Mr. Sahil. Let me quickly ask Mr. Arpit, so over to you.
Yes. So as Sahil rightly said,
Arpit sir, you are on mute.
Arpit, you unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead, Arpit.
So obviously, as Sahil said, that adopting the culture within the organization and externally with the clients to adopt the communication apps like Microsoft Office or MS Teams or Zoom or WhatsApp video calls, that was not easy for us, because in financial services normally everything is done in person, where we used to go personally to clients, we used to do personal meetings. And since as I told you, we had got an international assignment, so it was even more challenging to do the virtual calls and meetings with the bankers, because with the banker, it is very difficult to schedule a Zoom call or schedule a WhatsApp call, because they normally, the global culture of the bankers, they normally want to meet you in person, and when you go and meet them, they will keep you waiting for some time. So all these challenges we faced, and we somehow managed. The most difficult part was whenever there was a joint meeting over Zoom, it was very difficult to bring one at the same time, because if one person has joined, the other one was for some reason has not been able to join. So it took at least a week for us to organize and put across everyone on the same line, on the same timelines, whenever we used to do the Zoom meetings through those platforms. But yes, it was a very big learning for us that going forward we should equip to work in such digital culture. And in fact, we have also adopted now 50% of our meetings right now still happening via online means, even internationally and even in India also.
Fantastic, Mr. Arpit. Just let me quickly ask Poonam, being a very new company, Poonam, what are the things that you adopted?
I come from the IT enabled services background for, over 15, 16 years of corporate experience before we started this. So I think coming from that background to where we stand today with the means that we've used, I think Zoom and Skype really take the cake for us. We really relied on those things heavily, and thank God for Zoom. So I think that's one. The other thing that I really noticed, and that's really different from the corporate culture, and I think it was a conscious thing that I wanted to do as well. I realized that, these formal channels were for formal communications and formal exchanges. However, with Zoom, with Skype, and, this whole connectivity throughout kind of a scenario, you're able to connect to your people better, your teams better, your customers better. I think the COVID taught us the most important thing that was really needed, and that was really the need of the hour, was the personal connect. So we did that with our customers. That's something as a trend I continue with my team as well, because one of my team members in Uttarakhand and others in Delhi, some are in Mumbai. So it's a really disparate team, to put together. But the greatest part is you're sharing every little thing you're even sharing your personal ups and downs, your wins, your losses, everything through these channels. It's not just formal communication. So I think that is where the warmth has to be weaved in the communication channels. You can't just use them just the way we were using it, 3 years later, 2 years later. So for me, I think that is what has been really and it's been a clear win for us. It's seamless and very smooth. Yeah.
Fantastic, Poonam. I think just the way she perfectly mentioned, this personal connect is something very, very important. You see, there was a person who started a company called Facebook, and he wanted some more connectivity. He purchased WhatsApp. He wanted to enhance his connectivity. He bought Insta, and today he said, "Let's all wind up the names and let me call it as Meta." So this is how the connectivity of today's world is, improvising. People are moving fast and forward. Everyone wants to get connected, and the boundaries have to be shrunk. And that's how today's world is running out. Fantastic. Thank you so much for bringing it out, Poonam. And moving forward, so there was a lot of, so there was a lot of virtual meetings happening, as Poonam rightly mentioned, again, as Sahil again told about the Zoom and the Skype, how they were very helpful. And Poonam said that it came as a blessing in disguise. So I would like to understand how the pivot of virtual meetings or communication with your customers redefine the business. So I would like to again start with Sunil sir.
You see, our business is not possible to do virtually, and whatever virtually we were doing always our whole clients are all around the world. Not a single client is in India. So we do the meeting always either virtually on telephones or Zoom calls or whatever may be. But meeting them is very important. But it was difficult to go. Now, until now, we cannot travel. Germany, if you go there, they have the quarantine and all these things were going on. Now this year they started, we will go. But it was a really difficult time for customer rather than us more. Because they wanted to see what is the new product, because we are in the consumer product. We make only consumer product. So they could not see anything. They are forced to buy what we are supplying them. They see on the virtual photographs, but feel is not there. So still for us, yesterday also I was telling you that we are not the person who can say that the transforming your business through new communication tools is very easy. It's like, you know, I give you pizza on the Zoom. Can you eat it? That is the situation for us. So nothing I can say more than this. You can go ahead. Thank you.
Right. But I'm very glad that I could at least ask one question that can be relatable to you, Sunil sir, because right from the start, I was feeling very guilty that I'm asking questions which cannot be related to you. But finally, I'm very happy to know that most of your client meetings are happening virtually. And I think now I can take I can take a breath of happiness. Okay, fine. I think I've asked one question which would relate to you. So let me ask the same question to Mr. Sahil. Over to you.
So I think I think what's very interesting is what's happened in the last year and a half is basically transformed the management consulting industry forever, right? Where for many years and decades, the whole model has been around having consultants on early morning flights and late night flights going in and out of cities and airports, visiting client side. But I think what the last year and a half has done, not only for us, but most consulting firms in the industry, is it's basically made clients super comfortable, or for the most part comfortable, with not having your people in their offices every week of the month through the project, right? So this hybrid model of being on client side versus being in your own offices has been really amazing for us, right? Because we are able to finally have more of a grip on our people being around versus being away Monday to Friday. At the same time, the client is more trustworthy and they know that you delivered great quality work through the pandemic, and they realize that they don't need you under their noses anymore every single week. But it's also created challenges, right? Because keep in mind that globally, a lot of people who join the consulting industry join because they get that aspect of traveling, seeing new cities, seeing new countries, meeting people from different cultures around the world, but that has obviously disappeared, right? So from an attraction in terms of how hot the industry is when you attract new talent, that whole component has fallen off, right? Because you're now no longer leaving another job to come to consulting so that you can be on a plane and keep traveling. So I think it's been a mixed bag, but for somebody who runs a firm, it's obviously been great, right? Because we get a better hold of our people, we get to spend more time with them, they're not away all the time. And logistically, you save on tons of costs, right? If you look at a P&L of any consulting firm, a lot of our expenses and overheads through the year is basically paying for fancy hotels and flights throughout the world where people are traveling to, right, through the week. So that whole line item is basically just minused from a lot of the money we used to spend traditionally, any consulting firm, right? So we're spending it in different ways now. Yeah.
All right, Sahil, may I ask the same to Arpit? Arpit, can you please adjust your camera a little bit?
Yes, exactly. So I was also of the same view that even as a consulting firm of ours, I remember the 2019 was the year of full of travel, and we have traveled to so many continents to meet our clients, investors, and our major part of expenditure was spent in the traveling. And when we realized that the same amount we were spending on traveling, we have to spend on the technology to improve the means of communication, to improve the means of business consulting, business services to be catered to the clients. Initially, it was challenging because most of our clients were used to physical meetings, physical documentation and delivery. But, we managed to, with some hiccups, we managed to convince them and we managed to make them understand that now this is the normal for the, at least for the time being. We cannot stop business because the sustainability of our revenue was the biggest question, because as it is, we cannot meet new clients physically, and we can only work from home, and we can only work virtually. So yes, initially there were some hiccups and it was looking difficult, but moving forward, when we spent some months, and when we executed the first assignment, the Thailand one, which I was telling you, we were supposed to do it physically. Then some confidence came to us that yes, some kind of hybrid work model, we can move forward with this as of now.
Fantastic, Arpit. May I ask the same to Poonam?
So while we were anyway born in COVID times, so everything we had to plan was to be planned around the scenarios. I personally felt that much as most of our communication that happened with the customers, the need that I realized, that the time really demanded the fact that all our communication, whether it's the social media, whether it's the ads, whether it's the general updates, they had to have a certain emotional connect. They had to be really expressive in certain way that could really get the customer going, and picking. And when it came to even connecting with the customer on a physical level, I think, of course, barring the distances and all of those gaps there were, at the end of the day, everything boiled down to that emotional connect for us. We are anyway a mission. Our company is not, it was never set as with the background of or foundation of just the business mindset. We are on a mission to actually save planet Earth and give our a little bit to that. So, with the mission anyway, there's just too much passion and emotion involved. At this juncture for us, with the communication that is really targeted towards consumer, I think the critical aspects and the critical need that we really need to address was how is every single communication of ours that is going to them is connecting to them, is really going through to them,
Correct. Fantastic, Poonam. I think combining all the insights that the panelists have already given, I think one thing that we really have to admit is the fact that this technology didn't creep into our lives all of a sudden. I think this was already into existence, but this pandemic has made us to embrace to all these technologies very quickly. As a matter of fact, Skype was already prevalent, so was all of other video conferencing apps. But what happened when the pandemic had struck? Over the night, all the companies, every Tom, Dick, and Harry had Zoom installed in their phones next to WhatsApp, I believe. So I think moving forward, I would like to understand what kind of technology adoption have you initiated to ensure the continuity of your business? So Nilsa, please don't kill me, but I think you might have a relatable answer. Let me pass it on to you.
Actually, I'm not looking after all the technology part of my company. My son, who is the MD of the company, he is looking after. It was a big task for him to get the things done because suddenly in Bombay, we were not sure that it will close down suddenly. On 22nd, they said we are shutting down for a day. And Saturday, we were thinking, we will start on Monday. And Monday morning, we knew it, everything is closed down. So our 50% of the staff have left the computer at the office only. The laptop was not with them. So they were forced to work on the mobiles. Muthu, can you understand how to work on the mobile for 2 months? And we were asking laptop people to deliver them by whatever possibility. And so a lot of technology changes he has done. We have work from home technology and all these things because, I was telling you, the people are not so sincere in India. In India, we have got a typicality that some person is required to oversee them. Just to watch them like a watchman, security guard, they are working. That is the real typicality. Even with us, even CEO, CFO also, we are like that only. If our clients are not pushing us, then we are sleeping. So that was the real thing. We don't know what to do. Still, we are struggling how to do, how to not to do. So we have come back to our old version, come to office, in case of need, work from home. Sorry, I cannot give you the proper answer in this matter.
No, I understand. I understand. So I should be sorry. But yes, let me quickly pass it on to Sahil.
I think just going back to that point, I think this indiscipline issue is a cultural, unfortunately, it seems to be an issue across industries, and we face this whenever we talk to clients as well. So we've, just to tackle that, we have like a productivity tool that obviously our IT team was a bit more advanced because we're in this space. So we had the ability to kind of have that installed on most machines around the world to kind of measure productivity, not only for us, but also for the people themselves to kind of know how work for home is going for themselves. I think, and I think just other productivity tools. I think we have a bit of a tech team that builds products for clients. I think they did a good job of building products internally, productivity tools, project management tools, other kinds of software that can kind of help us get through this and manage our work better remotely. I think constant communication. I think we like I said, we weren't work from home forever for a long time. I think I know a lot of people who work from home for much longer than we were. We've actually been back in the office now to some level because we do fall into ITES and essential services, and our whole building actually is ITES. So we've actually been in the office now for a year or so. So we've had it a bit easier in the sense that I don't have too much work from home experience, but we found ways to make it work.
All right, Sahil, thank you. So let me pass on the question to Arpit, over to you.
Hello.
Yes,
am I audible?
Yes, Arpit, please go ahead.
Okay. Can you just repeat the question if you don't mind?
I'll definitely do that. What kind of technology adoptions did your company made to ensure the continuity of business?
Oh, yes. So we basically, as I told you that we were not used to do any virtual meetings earlier, or we were having very less technological solutions with our enterprises. But with this pandemic, which taught us to go and work more with the technology. So, we took a premium membership of Zoom, and I never used Microsoft Teams before this, and WebEx especially. So we adopted that, and we also adopted a technological solution through which we can, send the files, send the documents, everything while working offline, because most of these files on these files or documents, we normally used to sit physically in front of the clients and do the data preparation, because it all has to be submitted to banks. But with this pandemic, we actually have to adopt these WebEx and Microsoft Team platforms to exchange the information. Screen sharing, I was never aware of the screen sharing concept before. So we, whenever we used to make any presentation or report, we obviously first have to do the screen sharing right away at that time on the call. So we have learned many new things related to the technology, which are useful for communicating and exchanging information, documents, and data to the clients or to our banks for whom we work as consultants globally.
All right, thank you, Arpit. Let me ask the same to Poonam. Poonam, over to you, Poonam.
Thank you. So, customers, not really just the front end aspect, right? For us, since we are in the e-commerce side of the story, it was very critical for us to also have build a decent, portfolio of products. So I think for that, we needed to do a lot of vendor registrations and stuff. Tools like Rev, new tools like Rev, which completely facilitate legal agreement signups digitally, were very handy for us, So I think it was very great timing for these tools to have come through. Then everything to do with the communication with the customer through social media, Canva and the likes were fantastic. Although we did have outsourced resources, designing stuff for us as well. But I think Canva has really been a savior for putting, everything you really want to communicate to your customer in simple ways. Then, of course, website still in the final stages of testing, but we've integrated WhatsApp, which is now almost 75% of the communications going through them. So WhatsApp is a great tool. We've integrated that apart from the chat. basically what we really ensured is that be available for answering any customer query at multiple platforms, be it WhatsApp, be it chat, be it the phone, right? And of course, as things progress, we have also weaved in the hyper personalized customer engagement tools. That is really critical, because once you get into the sea of e-commerce, you need to really stand out, and that can only happen when you're really connecting to the customer on a personal, on a very close level. So multiple places technology came in very handy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Poonam, for that lovely answer. Yes, moving forward, I think I have to ask one question very specific to Mr. Sunil, and then again reiterate the same to the others. Mr. Sunil, as you mentioned with us, like most of your meetings or most of your clients are abroad, and you meet them virtually, right? So during those times when you meet them virtually or during your virtual meets, what are some of the challenges that you faced? Is there anything interesting that you would like to share, Mr. Sunil?
We are not facing any challenges. Our clients are facing challenges. They have to see the things on the virtually. We show something on virtually. Actually, we were working practically on IT only totally, but everything is finalized. Then we had to give them the real feel of the textile feel, how it looks on their bed. And this pandemic was a boom for IT and pharma. It was really very bad for the fashion industry like us. People are not using anything. They are continuing with the same thing. Chalta hai, kya farak padta hai. You see we have seen a lot of WhatsApp messages and other comedy messages that people are sitting with the jacket like Sahil, but what he's wearing below, we don't know. So that was very much the fashion industry.
I'd be happy to show you. I'd be happy to show you if it's a popular. Here, I have no choice, unfortunately, in the office. Everybody is better dressed than me, also.
It was like he almost caught you.
It was something in the, if the session is over without laughing, then that's not the point. Because Sunil Sirasle, I'm the very senior guy in the Rotary. But if I'm there, everybody should laugh at least twice in the session. That was the reason. I'm sorry. It formed like that.
Not a problem, sir. Not a problem. I myself, given a chance, I wouldn't really stand up at the moment. So you might understand what I try to make from that.
It was just a joke.
Yeah, it's all right.
Not the big challenges, but the stores were closed, so business was not there. But the online, we moved a little bit to online, so the online business was moving on. So it was the replacement of the business, but the stores and everything is getting out now. You see the rented places and the commercial places are getting down.
I understand. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Sunil. I would like to ask the same to Mr. Sahil.
Sorry, I thought you were asking him a specific question to do with his industry.
Yeah, let me ask the same to you. Like, what are some of the biggest challenges faced by enterprises in terms of adopting the digital normal?
Well, I think for our clients, in fact, we were doing a very interesting 8 months of work for actually, I can't name the client, but one of India's largest footwear manufacturers and retailers, right before the pandemic. And I think, and then again, Sunil kind of gave you some examples, right? So I think I'm not speaking about our business because we actually were fine, like I said, because we managed and we happened to be doing work for an industry, which is financial services, that didn't really stop. In fact, they accelerated, right, in the last year and a half. So in fact, you have a question later on resetting growth, right? But the reality is, I mean, in terms of work consistency and the amount of work we've been doing, it's actually been as active, if not more. But on other industries, I think the biggest challenge is not being able to get your tangible product in front of your client, right? So they can touch and feel it and build trust in terms of buying stuff from you. And I think in terms of, like I said, I keep reiterating this whole people thing, but I think it's very important, right? For any professional services industry, where people are your backbone, I think just managing people is more sensitive and is just extremely painful. when it's completely remote, right? You don't know what's on their mind. You don't know if they're not enjoying the project they're working on. You don't know if they're applying for 3 other jobs, but because you're not meeting in person, they're not even having a conversation with you. It's just that whole retention, org culture, growth, talent development, L&D, that whole HR agenda for any head of HR, it just falls apart, right? And how do you then adopt? And that's why if you look at the technology that is innovated in the last year and a half, it's a lot of it has been around HR tech, right? Obviously, marketing tech and all are things that have existed for a long time, and marketing tools, email marketing tools, social media tools, that's been around for a long time. But a lot of the innovation that's happened is in HR technology on how to get your people to engage and stay active with you through, even though you're not meeting them. And we've also adopted some of those practices.
All right, fantastic, Mr. Sahil. Let me ask the same to Arpit.
Yeah. So some of the challenges which we faced and what we did, what points we took or what efforts we took to cope up with it was that when we have to communicate to the client, so we have to submit, whenever we have to submit any report or whenever we have to get the assignment. And for example, I'll give you an example. Like, for example, if I have to get a letter of credit issued by a bank for any client, now the last mile of documentation, that is always critical in any transaction. When it suppose when you have to issue a letter of credit and you have to submit the final set of documentation, that mile is always a critical part. So what we did in order to cope up with this situation, that we purchased some softwares for which wherein if we put in the data, the documents can easily be created with our existing staff. And the staff was not itself in the office, so we we instructed those people who were working for us that how that product or how that software is used first of all, and then how the report is made. So a lot of time virtually was spent again on that to make them understand how the whole system works. And so we managed to prepare the documents like this, and we gave the reports to the bank. And fortunately, in 1 month's time, we got the assignment executed, completely working virtually and adopting the technology tools in our business. But it was very challenging because there were different type of tools which we have to adopt, and each tool has different level of understanding. So understanding self and making it understand to clients, to my people who were working with us in the organization, to my global team who were working as associates, was not easy. It was definitely challenging, and a lot of time was spent. Frankly, some of my home members used to ask that in lockdown, why you have to work so much online. So later on I have to explain it to them that because we are not used to using the technology in our business so often, so I'm spending so much of time in order to make them understand and in order to create the culture for my people to use the technology in our business.
Right. Thank you, Arpit. So I would like to ask the same to Poonam. Over to you.
Yeah, so Muthu, I really, working from home now is a new normal, right? So that sort of comes with its own challenges. Given, every system that you're working on now needs to be cloud-based. It also needs to be interacting with each other seamlessly. And frankly, with my R&D that I've done, I don't think I have really got a satisfactory answer or, that really interacts with every facet of your business, even when we're talking about an e-commerce industry, especially the financial integrations. They are really tough. When you've got your APIs going, there's just so much scope for growth. I think the good part, now that we are all working online and using a lot of digital technologies and, working from home and whatnot, is that it's brought out a lot of gaps in integration and communication between systems. Because once that happens, I think it just doesn't matter where you're working from. The other challenge that I felt was also on the banking, on the funding front. While we were interacting with our bankers, they're so hell-bent on you having an office when we really don't need one right now. Right. So those are, I think, external challenges when you're interacting with other enterprises as a new venture. So there are these couple of gaps which now need addressing. And I think that they are going to be the new trend anyway going forward. So let's hope and see that a lot of good things come out of the hardships. Yeah.
Fantastic. Poonam. Moving forward, I think we would all like to agree to one point, is that as an entrepreneur, we are always tuned ourselves to look for what next, right? So we are always the problem solvers, and we always love to find solutions for all the problems prevailing around us. Speaking about that, I would love to understand what kind of enterprise solutions can you feel to enhance your productivity of business? And repeat, what kind of enterprise solutions you feel can enhance your business productivity? Once again, Mr. Sunil, over to you.
In our organization, there is a chance, scope of just 20-30%, not more than that, because we are in the real actual production of the product and sending it to clients. The part of it will be the marketing, that is just 20-30% of us. So we don't find anything big scope, but the pattern of selling is changing. More of things are going on online. Stores are getting closed, and online is creating one very bad thing in the mind of people. They order 3 things to be sure that what we are buying, it should be the best, and the 2 are going back return. And when they are returning back, they are not so disciplined. I'm not talking about India because we don't deal in India. We deal all over 25 countries in the world. But except USA, you don't find the return quality is coming so good like this. The consumption will increase automatically because a lot of wastage is going on. So we don't think, we have to still think about what will be the challenges in future, what we have to do. No doubt the finance side and all other consultancy sides are streamlined with the new IT technology. They are quite capable. They can do the things by screen sharing. And so it's a very big challenge for them also to get new people employed. They require little less number of people now. So we don't have an exact answer for this new technology.
I understand. All right. Thank you, Mr. Sunil. I would like to ask the same to Sahil.
Well, I think anything that, from our perspective, anything that can help you manage programs, long-term, important strategic programs and projects better was great. So like I said, we invested in a bunch of productivity tools, workflow management tools, project management tools, productivity tools. Because at the end of the day, I mean, our whole business model is around billing hours and the amount of hours one consultant and one senior consultant and one director will spend on a project, and making sure you don't blow a project budget. And so making sure you have all that workflow managed in an efficient and productive way. So we invested a lot in those kind of tools. In fact, we built most of them ourselves because we have a tech arm. So I think that was key.
All right, Mr. Sunil. Sorry, moving on to Mr. Arpit.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
So, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So, in our business also, what we have realized that we need a technology, which can help people, which can help in the follow-up of our clients, especially technologies which do not need my staff or my employee to go and do the physical meetings. They can do one-on-one virtual meetings along with the sharing of the information, content, and the follow-up related to my business. So I feel that if that kind of, we are looking for that kind of technology, we are working for, we are in talks with various IT companies that how that kind of solution which we are looking for can be integrated in a company like ours. So I feel that would be very useful in future for the productivity and enhancement of business also, and plus it will save a lot of time and energy for my employees.
Fantastic, Mr. Arpit. Is over to Poonam.
Yeah.
So I think, from what I understand as of now with the business and the segment that we are in, I think there are 3 aspects that would really help and come in handy. One is the omni-channel marketing tools, right? The other is the omni-channel financial integration tools. And the third is the omni-channel logistics integration tools. But I do see a lot of scope in all of these three things. I think there's a lot, like Sahil mentioned, they did it in-house, and I think we are also exploring certain pathways to actually do certain bits of it in-house eventually. But what I really want after, the outcome of all of this is that you really get your team working on, rather than spending time on, entering data and all of that, they're spending time on studying the data and really getting some tangible, doable, actionable, outputs out of the data. So I think, and then of course, also focusing on customer engagement more than just the tool management itself, right? So I think that's what I'm looking at from my business perspective.
Fantastic, Poonam. Moving forward, I would like to understand what was that one major initiative to reset growth to your organization. I'd like to start with Mr. Sunil again.
We don't find any challenge in growing. It's a natural growth will be going on. The technology, the person who is going faster in technology will have an easier way, easier path will be the making business. And so we had a growth of 25% in consumer product also. That was a really surprising in the market. But it was my son who has done the odd technology development with their staff. So all the staffs in Bombay, it was so difficult. They didn't have the proper internet also. So even I can see that when the Janice was talking, the connection was not so good. So that is the main challenge we are facing in future. That's a connection line and should be improved, which is not possible nowadays. I don't know why. It is going worse and worse. The internet connections are getting slower and bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sunil. Over to Mr. Sahil.
I could not give an answer, but it was something related to what you were asking.
I'm sorry, sir.
I could not give you the real answer, but it was related to what you wanted to know.
That's fine, sir. Not a problem. I think I have to come again with better questions next time. Let me ask the same to Sahil.
Well, I guess similar answer, right? Like I said, this whole financial services, this acceleration is actually, the growth was in any case sustained. We didn't really have to reset anything, but I guess to sustain growth and to keep the momentum going, we obviously had a bunch of initiatives, like I already mentioned a couple of times, that we had to keep in place, but we didn't really have to, it didn't really stop and then start again at any point.
So moving forward with Mr. Arpit.
Yes, so one thing which worked very well for our organization is that we seeing the situation of lockdown and travel restrictions, we knew that we would not be able to get much business in our traditional manner. So we added one more product in our company offering, and that was the trade financing, the opening of letter of credits and standby letter of credit from prime banks and small banks, medium banks, mainly for the merchandising business, exporters and importers. And that really worked well because we saved our cost on traveling and other stuff, and we did more than 100% growth in this last financial year in the whole lockdown because of the adoption of this new initiative. And we also, in fact, added our partnerships with new people in new countries. Now we have an associate in Australia. Now we have an associate in Ireland. So we have definitely this new initiative has helped us in achieving our growth targets of our company. And we never thought that even in the global lockdown situation, we will be able to grow like this as a company in revenue, in terms of revenue.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Arpit. Let me quickly ask the same to Poonam.
Muthu, I personally feel these were really the toughest of times. There were financial challenges. There were scenarios where people had personal losses, right? So no matter what you're doing, which business you're in, people really come on the forefront. And my biggest learning and things that we really applied and we are in the process of applying is with everybody who's come on board as a team, or whether it's the vendors or the other stakeholders that we're dealing with, we've really been very, very sensitive, very understanding with everybody. There's a sense of warmth each time I'm interacting with everyone, because, that cutthroat business mentality now is not going to work. You need to really motivate people, because that's what's lacking. COVID has killed so much, motivation in people. So that's another thing that really, I think we really are working hard on. Empower people with learning tools, and then of course nurture the talent slowly, steadily, rather than pushing and rushing things. I think what is going to be our focus is nurturing our team members to really own up to what they are doing, because then it's a mission, right? So the mission needs teamwork, and mission needs a synchronized thought process, and that is exactly how we are doing whatever we are doing. So everything that we are doing, whether outside or inside, is focused on that particular essence. That's my learning.
Fantastic, fantastic, Poonam. So it was a lovely way talking to each other so far. So I think it's time to invite Janice for closing thoughts.
Thank you, Ms. Hariharan. Thank you, Arpit ji. Thank you, Sahil ji, and thank you, Sunil Kumar ji, and of course Muddu, for your lovely insights. I think I had a great understanding of the challenges and the requirement, and how we have all coped up in all various industries. And it's great to hear from Ms. Hariharan that this was born in COVID time. So that is something really really good, encouraging, I would say. So thank you, and looking forward to have you again in such kind of series. Thank you so much for your time.